This year, we're going to see what Sony is really made of. The PlayStation 4 will launch into the most technologically competitive environment Sony has ever seen. In Gaming Wars, we cover new products for gaming platforms from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, as well as the rise of mobile, computer, and platform gaming. During the CRT age of television, Sony pretty much ruled the high-end television market with its Trinitron tubes during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Then, LCDs and plasmas took over the living room. And while Sony tried to adapt with its Bravia line of LCD TVs, a year ago Sony threw in the towel and sold its stake in the LCD business to Samsung and Sharp. Now Sony is refocused on strengthening its gaming platform. Let me start by saying that while a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't see a physical product at the launch, there are more important things to consider besides the exterior design of the console.
But over half the keynote was trailers.
Well, I did feel a little trolled into watching developer
This is Killzone Shadowfall.
after developer
I'm Nate Fox, here to introduce to you Sucker Punch's latest game.
after developer.
Exclusive.
It's a game that happens really all in your mind, much more so than on the screen, anyway.
Talk about their upcoming games. But Sony's strength has always come from its support of its game developers, and every Sony executive made it a point to highlight the advantages of the PS4 for developers.
Allowing developers to explore new business models that offer more flexibility, including episodic and free-to-play.
We knew we would need to design to the dreams and ambitions of the developers who create the content that game players crave. And their comments were invaluable in crafting these system specs. In PlayStation 4, a platform by game creators for game creators.
So even though we didn't see an actual PS4, we did learn what will be at the heart and soul of the new PlayStation 4 platform. First, they started out by acknowledging the tough reality of Sony's position compared to the previous launches.
While we once had changed the gaming landscape, now the consumer was changing us.
But then he laid out the focus of the new platform.
The living room is no longer the center of the PlayStation ecosystem, the gamer is.
While I'll probably make a Chip Wars episode once we get the final specs of the new processor, let me just say this. As I said in Gaming Wars 7, the new PS4 may not have native backwards compatibility with PS3 games because of the switch to the x86 platform.
Although PS3 titles aren't natively supported on the PS4, the technology is so advanced that someday we could easily put PS1, PS2, PS3, and the PS Mobile games on any device.
By ditching the PowerPC architecture, Sony is opening up its platform to a wider range of multi-threaded games. Remember, developers were really frustrated at how hard it was to make games for the previous Cell processor.
I'm proud of what we accomplished with Cell on PlayStation 3, but at the same time, the need to radically customize technology can interfere with the design innovation that's so central to game creation.
Now, it should be much easier, resulting in more powerful games that can do things like this.
This next live demo is a million object physics simulation from Havoc. This is primarily running on the GPU, not the CPU. Tasks that can fully occupy the CPU cores will be achievable using just a fraction of the PlayStation 4 GPU. Not only do we have the power to drive this level of application, but we also have in PlayStation 4 an extraordinarily easy conversion path from the PC world.
And in terms of hardware, this impressed me the most.
And for system memory, I'm proud to announce that we are equipping the system with 8 gigabytes of high-speed unified memory, GDDR5, the type of memory typically reserved for top-of-the-line, high-end graphics cards. This gives us 176 gigabytes per second of bandwidth.
So now the PS4 console will have the computational legroom to do things like
The hardware supports suspending and resuming of play sessions. Just hit the power button and the system enters a low power state with the play session preserved in RAM. The minutes that it takes today to boot a console and load a saved game will be a thing of the past. On PS4, you'll just hit that power button again and promptly be back playing the game at the exact spot you left off.
And in case there was any doubt that the future of buying games will be through digital distribution, we heard this.
And with the Gaikai Cloud technology, our goal is to make free exploration possible for virtually any PlayStation 4 game in the PlayStation Store. You can simply press the X button to hop in and start playing the game.
As a result, it's possible to download or update games in the background, or even with the main power off. When you purchase a title, you download just a fraction of the data and begin playing. The rest of the data is downloaded in the background as you continue to play the game.
And we also found out about the new input peripherals.
Finally, we added a few new features. A touchpad as a new form of input, a share button and a headphone jack to enhance social interactions, and a light pad as a a light bar as a simpler, more friendly way to identify players. And this new controller was designed in tandem with a second peripheral, a stereo camera that can sense the depth of the environment in front of it and track the 3D position of the controller via its light bar.
While hardware is important in trying to figure out what kinds of new games developers can make, the killer feature that might help grow the gaming market for Sony is the PS4's integration with social networks.
Social play is so important to PlayStation 4 that we've added in hardware to support it in the form of dedicated, always-on video compression and decompression systems. It enables seamless uploadings of recordings of gameplay. Just hit the share button on the controller, scan through the last few minutes of gameplay, pick a portion, tag it, and return to your game. The video will upload as you continue play. Our goal is to make the sharing of video as popular in the PlayStation 4 generation as the sharing of screenshots is today.
With that one button, you can broadcast from your game live, 100% real time, to your friends. It's an incredible innovation and something that has never been possible on console before.
You can browse live game video of what your friends are doing at that exact moment, or spectate the gameplay of a famous person within your gaming universe. You can even see that your friend is in trouble and reach out through the network to take over the controller and assist them through some difficult portion of the game.
But what does all this sharing mean for Sony?
Most of the new social dimension to PlayStation 4 will be interacting with friends using real names and profile pictures, most likely seeded from your existing social network.
Our vision is to create the first social gaming network with meaning.
And Sony is developing a new PlayStation app that will let you share gameplay with spectators and buy games from your Android or iOS device and download them to your PS4 in the background.
Applications on smartphones and tablets, as well as web platforms and Vita, will allow PlayStation 4 conversations to be carried far beyond the living room.
And it's awesome to see Sony responding to Nintendo's Wii U gamepad functionality.
That we'll continue to unlock PlayStation Vita's potential.
For example, say you're in the middle of an epic battle on PS4, but your kids have just taken over the living room. What do? Well, it's easy. You just use Remote Play to transfer the game over to your PS Vita. So to make Remote Play between the PS4 and the PS Vita feel good, we've dramatically reduced transmission times so the gameplay is snappy and immediate. We've accomplished this by integrating some of the Gaikai technology into the PS4 system architecture that essentially turns it into a game server, and the PS Vita becomes a client with remarkably fast connection speeds.
And Sony didn't forget about the TV wars.
PlayStation gamers love all forms of entertainment, including watching movies, watching TV shows, listening to music. So PlayStation Network will have services including Sony's own Video Unlimited and Music Unlimited. And we're working with leading services like Netflix, Amazon Instant Video, and other media services to have them on the platform. We'll be announcing more specifics on this later in the year.
Sony definitely has an awesome vision for its gaming platform. It's great to see that it's still focused on the core gamer market while supporting developers that are trying to make breathtaking games. And it's interesting to me that Sony basically laid out its strategy before finalizing the console. If someone at Sony watches this video, I really hope Sony includes dual-band Wi-Fi, an easy-to-install hard drive, and whatever else you guys can think of in the comments. If you guys like this type of video, I'll be sure to post updates in Gaming Wars as we find out more information.